The discovery of a young woman's body on a lonely Brooklyn service road in the shadowy hours before dawn would mark the beginning of a case that would haunt the city for years to come. Her head was wrapped tightly in layers of clear packing tape, a chilling detail that would become the case's grim signature. News of the crime sent shockwaves through New York City, a metropolis that prided itself on resilience but was now shaken to its core. The brutality and methodical nature of the crime suggested something far colder than a crime of passion. This was calculated, deliberate, and deeply disturbing. The tape was meant to silence her, to erase her voice and her identity, to make her just another faceless victim in a city of millions, but it failed. Her name was Imette St. Guillen. She was more than a victim, she was a daughter, a friend, a scholar, and her story was just beginning to unfold. The city, proud of its progress against crime, was suddenly reminded of a darker era, when fear and violence stalked the streets after dark. Police faced a chilling scene, a body left with no identification, no clear motive, and no immediate suspect. All that remained was a patterned blanket, the suffocating tape, and a sense of dread that settled over the investigation. The first step was to give her back her name, to restore her humanity in the face of such cruelty. Soon, the investigation led detectives far from the bleak service road, into the world of a bright, ambitious graduate student, a world filled with promise, laughter, and dreams, so starkly different from the place where her life ended. As Imette's identity became public, fear and disbelief swept through the city. Strangers mourned her, and parents clung tighter to their children, wondering how such horror could strike so close to home. She was a John Jay College student, studying the very criminal justice system now tasked with finding her killer. A cruel twist that made the case even more urgent for investigators and the public alike. The irony was cruel, and the urgency to solve the case grew with every passing hour. Detectives worked around the clock, piecing together fragments of evidence, determined to bring justice to a young woman who had dedicated her life to understanding justice itself. How did a promising life filled with hope and ambition end up discarded on the city's edge, hidden beneath a blanket and a shroud of tape? The search for answers had only just begun, and the city braced itself for the truth that would soon emerge from the shadows. Before headlines and heartbreak, Imette St. Guillen was simply Imette, a beloved daughter, a loyal friend, and a cherished sister. She was the kind of person whose laughter filled a room, whose kindness left a mark on everyone she met, and whose presence made ordinary moments feel special. At just 24 years old, Imette was already making a difference. She was passionate about justice, driven by a deep sense of empathy and fairness. Whether she was volunteering for a cause or studying late into the night, she was determined to help others and make the world a better place. After growing up in Boston, Imette set her sights on New York City, a place she saw as full of opportunity and excitement. She moved there to pursue her master's degree at John Jay College of Criminal Justice, eager to learn and to challenge herself in a city that never sleeps. Friends described her as energetic, kind, and fiercely independent. She was the friend who would show up when you needed her most, the one who inspired others to be brave and true to themselves. Her independence was a source of pride, and she embraced the city's energy with open arms. On February 24, 2006, Imette joined friends for a birthday celebration, a night out that felt like any other in the city. The laughter, the music, and the sense of freedom that comes with youth and friendship filled the air. As the evening wore on and the group began to drift apart, Imette decided to visit one last bar, The Falls, by herself, around 3:30 a.m. It was a decision made in the spirit of adventure, not fear. Her independence wasn't unusual. She felt safe in her city, confident in her ability to navigate its streets. Like so many young women, she trusted that her city would protect her, that she could enjoy its nightlife without worry. Inside the bar, she ordered a drink and blended into the late-night crowd, surrounded by strangers and the hum of conversation. She was just another face in the crowd, unaware that someone was watching her. That danger was lurking closer than she could have imagined. That ordinary decision, to enjoy one more drink before heading home, would soon become the focus of a citywide investigation, drawing the attention of police, the media, and a community in shock. Imette was simply enjoying a night out, not knowing her path would cross with someone who saw opportunity in her vulnerability. In a city of millions, a single moment would change everything. The city would soon learn how quickly a bright light could be extinguished, and how the loss of one young woman could ripple through families, friends, and strangers alike. Her final hours would become a puzzle for detectives, a mystery that demanded answers, and a warning for everyone about the fragility of safety, even in the most familiar places. The search for her killer was about to intensify, with investigators determined to bring justice for Imette and closure for those who loved her. And as the city grappled with fear and grief, its sense of safety would never be the same. Imette's story would become a call for change, and a reminder of the light she brought to the world. Imette was a writer of her own life, keeping a diary and blog filled with wit and hope. Her entries revealed a young woman deeply engaged with the world, studies, friendships, and small joys. In the days before her disappearance, her post painted a picture of a life in motion. Her final entry, posted hours before she went out, was heartbreakingly ordinary. "My heart is in a million pieces." About a TV show ending. There was no hint of fear, no sign of danger. Her diary became a timeline for investigators, a testament to her innocence. It was the last time her voice would be heard in her own words. That digital record would soon become a crucial piece of evidence. Imette's story, told in her own voice, would help unravel the mystery of her final night. Even in death, her words would guide the search for justice. News that the victim was Imette St. Guillen sent a wave of fear through New York. This wasn't a random street crime, it was a young woman doing what thousands do, having a drink at a bar. The randomness was terrifying. If it could happen to her, it could happen to anyone. Her face was everywhere, the city's collective security shaken. Parents, students, and young women saw themselves in Imette. The NYPD faced immense pressure as the case dominated headlines. Every move was scrutinized, every rumor dissected. Investigators knew they had to retrace Imette's final hours step by step. Where did she go after leaving her friend? Who did she meet? The city waited, anxious and on edge, as detectives raced against time. The search for answers had become a citywide obsession. The investigation began with two key clues, a cheap floral blanket and Imette's cell phone records. Police released a photo of the blanket, hoping someone would recognize it. Meanwhile, her phone records revealed a chilling detail, a call made to her sister at 4:40 a.m., long after she was last seen. Only muffled sounds came through before the line went dead. Using cell tower data, police traced the call to Queens, miles from where Imette was last seen. The killer was mobile, moving Imette across boroughs. The blanket and phone ping gave detectives their first real direction. They focused on Queens, canvassing businesses and showing the blanket photo. The puzzle was far from complete, but the investigation had momentum. Detectives felt they were closing in. The city watched, hoping for a breakthrough. The hunt for Imette's killer was narrowing. While detectives chased leads on the ground, another team explored Imette's digital life. Her habit of tracking expenses online led to a breakthrough. Police found charges from the first bar, but none from the Falls. This discrepancy raised suspicion. Had she even paid for a drink there? The focus shifted sharply to the Falls bar. Detectives interviewed staff, especially security. That's when they heard the name Daryl Littlejohn, a bouncer with a criminal record. Littlejohn claimed he left early and went straight home. But detectives noticed cracks in his story. His background and proximity to the cell phone ping in Queens made him a prime suspect. The investigation zeroed in on Littlejohn, and the pressure mounted. The digital trail had led them to a name, and a new set of questions. The case was about to break open. Daryl Littlejohn's past was troubling: robbery, drugs, and he was on parole. His criminal record painted a picture of a man who had spent years on the wrong side of the law, struggling to find his place in society. Despite his attempts to start over, the shadows of his past followed him everywhere. Working at a bar violated his parole, giving him motive to lie about his whereabouts and activities. As a bouncer, he was supposed to keep people safe, but his secret threatened everything. He knew that if the truth came out, he could be sent back to prison. Police searched his Queens home, which was located near the cell tower that pinged Imette's phone the night she disappeared. The proximity was no coincidence. It placed him at the center of the investigation. In a van parked outside, investigators uncovered crucial evidence. DNA samples found inside matched Imette, a discovery that would become the cornerstone of the case. Fibers from a blanket and a roll of packing tape were also discovered, linking the van to the crime. These seemingly small details painted a chilling picture of what had happened. The evidence was overwhelming, dismantling Littlejohn's alibi piece by piece. Each new discovery made his story harder to believe. Confronted with the mounting proof, Little John changed his story multiple times, blaming others and weaving new lies. But the forensic links were too strong to ignore, and his credibility crumbled. Investigators believed Little John, as a bouncer, saw Imette alone and vulnerable as the night ended. He may have watched her leave, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. He likely abducted her at closing time, driving her through the dark city streets to Queens where the crime unfolded. The sequence of events became clearer with every new piece of evidence. The motive remained unclear. Was it a robbery gone wrong or something even darker and more sinister? The city was left to wonder what truly drove him, but the how and who were now terrifyingly clear. The evidence left little doubt about the chain of events and the man responsible. The city's fear turned to outrage as the case against Little John solidified. People demanded justice, and the pressure on law enforcement mounted. The investigation had found its suspect, and the community watched as the pieces finally came together. Justice for Imette was within reach. The courtroom would soon become the stage for answers, accountability, and closure. The city braced for answers in court, hoping that the truth would finally bring peace to a community shaken by tragedy. Imette's diary became more than evidence. It was her voice in the courtroom and the media. Her words reminded everyone she was more than a victim, a thinker, a friend, a daughter. The prosecution used her diary to show the jury her dreams and personality. It underscored the true cost of the crime, the loss of a vibrant future. Her final, lighthearted entry stood in stark contrast to the brutality she suffered. The diary galvanized public support and kept pressure on the justice system. Imette became a symbol for both vulnerability and the demand for accountability. Even after her death, her words echoed, ensuring she would not be forgotten. The evidence against Darryl Littlejohn was overwhelming. He was arrested, tried, and in 2009, convicted of Imette's murder, sentenced to life without parole. The case led to proposed reforms, like Imette's law, to prevent parolees from working in bars. Yet one question lingers: why? Littlejohn never confessed or explained his motive. The pain for Imette's loved ones remains even as justice was served. Her diary became her lasting testament, a voice for justice and hope. Imette is remembered for how she lived, not just how she died. Her story compels us to be vigilant and to never forget the people behind the headlines. If you found this story compelling, subscribe for more in-depth explorations of cases that shaped our world.